everything's set up. So good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us for today's class. We are going to start on our backs. If that feels like a good place for you to start, we're going to head back there if you aren't already. And just start to make some easy connections with your breath. Today's class is about trying to let things go, eliminate tension, not only physically in our body, but just any kind of emotional stresses that might be weighing on our minds or our heart. As we take a gentle approach to our yoga practice today, things are going to move a little slower. The breath is going to be at the forefront of our practice. And the time that you have on your mat is going to be set aside just for you. So if some gentle movements make sense, feel free to embrace those, maybe waving the knees a little bit right and left, or maybe opening and closing the hands, or letting the back of the head kind of sway around on the mat. And then once you had a couple easy opening movements, start to bring yourself back to a stationary pose, something nice and still. And really begin to focus on your breathing. Allow your inhale breath to let your belly, that's what I was searching for, let your belly rise up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, just gently let that belly button start to fall down into the spine. Just some easy, relaxed breath. Belly expanding on the inhale. Belly button falling towards the spine on the exhale. Everything's nice and gentle here. Today's opening reading is entitled, "When I Judge Another, I Limit That Person as Well as Myself." To judge is to put self or others in a box. Focus today on your actions. Ask yourself, are my actions kind? Do they support my values? Just for today, refuse to judge yourself as good or bad. Refuse to judge yourself as good or bad. Waking up the body slowly from that rested state. If your knees have been bent, we're going to go ahead and take our time to start to walk the legs long down the mat. I'm going to join you now on the floor. Legs are nice and long, maybe hands even stretched long above the head as you relax, reclined back here on the earth. Pointing and flexing the toes a little bit, maybe rolling the ankles or letting the back of the head just rest into the earth. When you feel ready, those feet will start to walk up the mat, heels getting a little closer to the glutes. Hands maybe coming back down by the hips, and we'll start some gentle windshield wipering of those knees from side to side. Next time those knees are back to center, let's invite our right knee in towards the chest. So the hands might come to the front of the shin, or maybe the back of the thigh. And just as said before, move this prop out of the way so I can see, just as said before, everything here is gentle today. So just take your time, let each pose feel good in your body. Maybe it feels good to push through that right heel and get a little elevation of that right leg up to the ceiling. Again, pointing and flexing, waking up the calf, waking up the shin. As you feel ready, just take your time, slowly bring this knee back down into the body, and then switch sides. Opposite knee this time is going to move its way in towards the chest. A comfortable grip on the back of the thigh or the shin might feel nice, maybe rocking around a little or rolling that ankle. Maybe closing the eyes or just keeping your gaze nice and gentle up on the ceiling. And then when you feel ready, there might be a little bit of extension offered out of that leg. Moving back and forth again through a point and a flex. All right, when you feel ready, just taking your time to bring this knee back down into the body, settling both feet down onto the mat. As you inhale, again, we're gonna lift the right knee in towards the chest. Left hand is gonna lift up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, place this back to the floor. Now, if you want a bigger shape, you can kick and extend, or this can be softer. But you're just kind of rotating through a little active march here, getting a little movement towards the head, or towards the arm lifting towards the sky. We're not really getting any head movement here. If you'd like to add some extension this time, maybe as the right foot lifts, that left arm even reaches up and above the head. And then settle that back down. Again, lifting and settling. One more time on each leg, just finding whatever variation worked best for you. Something that felt like you were bringing some energy into the legs, warmth to the core, and then just let that settle back into place. Once you've had both feet evenly placed behind the glutes, knees are nice and bent, hands down on either sides of the hips, just take your time to lift for a basic bridge pose, so creating a little bit of space here underneath your back. Your gaze is gentle up towards the ceiling. Breath is nice and fluid. Taking your time. Now the next time that natural inhale comes around, see if you can lift these heels up off the earth, and then just start to lower down one vertebra at a time. The last thing to hit the mat again is going to be those heels. Soles of the feet look for one another. We start to walk them in towards each other. Right hand rests on heart as left hand goes to belly and knees open to the sides. Reclined bound angle. Find a slow, easy inhale. Belly expands. A slow, easy exhale. The belly drops. Following this pattern of breath, relaxing the eyes, relaxing the muscles of the face, allowing for very gentle movement to be happening right now. This is just about breath. As your next natural inhale comes around, hands are going to move towards the outer edges of those knees and just start to stand them up towards the ceiling. Walking the feet a little wider on your mat. Let your knees fall in towards one another. Maybe they touch in a constructive rest. Hands can rest on thighs, belly, heart, or even reach up overhead. And then we'll just take our time to let our feet walk back underneath of us. Perfect. We're going to roll to our right hand side, letting your right arm start to function like a pillow, resting in a side lying savasana. 2 breaths here. Perhaps pulling those knees tighter into the chest. Hands push for the ground, look for the ground, push off the ground. Whatever works for you as we start to find a seated posture. Now for the seated poses that we're going to do today, If you would like to look for a blanket or a pillow or a block to put underneath of you, feel free to find any of those props that might make you feel a little more comfortable. If you reached for a dish towel earlier, I forgot to kind of make sure everybody had that before we started, but a towel would be helpful, or a yoga strap. I think everybody got one of those. All right, perfect. Having that handy here might be nice, so just kind of get it where it's within a hand's reach and set it down on the floor near you. I'm going to adjust myself real quick because I can't see my legs, so that means you probably can't see my legs either. There, let's see if that's better. All right, perfect. So now when we find this seat, see if you can bring hands to the fronts of the knees. As you inhale, your hands are going to slide back towards your hip creases, your heart opens. When you exhale, you'll round your back and round your spine. So just take your time to move through some seated cat-cow here, opening, expanding through the heart, rounding over those shoulders on the exhale. Just take your time. One last round of breath at your own pace, heart expanding, opening, and then rounding out. Next natural inhale, let these hands start to reach for the ceiling, all the way nice and high above your head. And then right hand falls down for the earth, stretching up and over the top. Take your time, side body stretch. Inhale, let this lift back up. And then exhale, take your time, ease it on over. Beautiful length. Let's do it one more time. So up and over. Really concentrating on keeping that chest nice and square to the front so that you get the most out of this full body stretch. It's going all the way down that side wall. Side body stretch rather. Hands going back up nice and tall. And then just let this all settle down into the heart. Perfect. Left hand's going to look for your right knee. Right hand's going to lift itself up towards the ceiling and invite a little back stroke with that arm as we bring it back behind us. It might touch the earth as we look over those shoulders. Just an easy twist this morning. And then the hand that's been on the earth, the one back here behind us, just take its time, let it kind of full stroke back forward, and then we'll switch off. Other side, it's going to move to this opposite knee. Opposite hand reaches up. We start to look for kind of a back stroking motion over that shoulder, keeping the spine nice and tall. One more fluid breath here. And then the hand that's behind us is going to sweep up and forward just like it did before, kind of rounding its way back to the front of your lap. Hands moving to knees, flexion, breath, inhale, chest moves through, exhale, round the back. Perfect. Start to bring yourself back up nice and tall with that same lifted breath, hands towards the ceiling. Exhale, bring these hands down to the heart. All right, from here, look for your strap or your towel. If your legs are feeling a little bit like they might want to be rearranged, feel free to do something different with your lower half. Get a little bit of movement for your shoulders here. And then we're just going to extend this towel or strap straight out in front of us. Inhale breath is going to lift it up above our heads. And then exhale breath is going to bring it straight back out in front of us. So just take your time. You're lifting and lowering. Now, you're going to want to watch where you're holding on to that towel. Because if you're too wide, you're going to feel some pinching in your shoulders. So see if you can bring this where it's coming straight out of the shoulder sockets. Perfect. For those of you that I can see, it looks like we've got good alignment there. Take your time. All right, next time the arms are up overhead, we're just going to take a slight lean to the right. And then back to center. A slight lean to the left. And then back to center. And then exhale this down. Good work. Bring the hands all the way down. We're going to keep this towel nearby as we start to shift ourselves onto hands and knees. Now I'm going to turn sideways just so you can see me a little better. But if you want to move a blanket underneath your knees, know that is always an option. Start with a couple cat-cows, just like our flexion spine we did seated. Belly will drop down on your inhale. Back will round on your exhale. Take your time. One more. Back to that table, right foot is going to extend long behind you. And then you're just going to step this right foot all the way over to the left edge of your mat. Look over your left shoulder, get a nice V curve stretch of the spine, outer wall, getting some attention. Perfect. Bring that foot back to the middle of the mat. Switch legs. Left foot goes long this time. Left foot steps all the way over to the right edge of the mat. Look over that right shoulder. Good. C curve stretch of the spine again here. And then we'll bring that back to the center of the mat, back to your hands and knees. Right hand moves directly underneath your face. Inhale, breath, left hand reaches up towards the ceiling and pause. Again, getting our spine that same healthy love we did seated. Now you're doing in a kneeling posture. Exhale, bring that hand down. Let's switch sides. Left hand underneath the face. Right hand opens into our twist on this side. Length out through the fingertips. Perfect. Take your time. Bring this hand back to earth. All right, from here, we're going to rotate up to high knees. I'm going to shift so that I'm facing you again. I'm going to come just from that tabletop up to high knees, and I'm going to look for my towel again. So for your high knees, we're going to take the same type movement. Your inhale breath will bring towel up over your head. Exhale breath will bring this back down. Let's scoot back just a little bit so we don't disappear off the screen. So we're just getting that same healthy movement for your shoulders. Taking your time. Matching it with your breath. Next time you're up tall on the inhale, pause there. Head to the right. Inhale, bring that back to center. Head to the left. Inhale, bring that back to center. Bring it back down. All right, we're going to try one more variation this time. It's a little different than what we had last time. The towel is going to lift up tall in your right hand. I'm going to turn so you can see what I'm doing. So the towel is tall in your right hand. You're going to bend that right elbow so that the towel hangs behind your back or the strap. Your left hand might be able to reach for the towel depending on how long your towel is. You might be able to make connection. Those of you with a little bit more shoulder flexibility might be able to walk these hands a little closer to one another. But just try your best not to sacrifice the top of your back. We don't want this big curled spine. So if we need to have hands really far apart in order to keep that spine tall, then that's where we're going to be today. If being on your knees like this is bothering you and you'd rather just do this standing, you can certainly stand up tall onto your feet. One more nice breath here. We'll release the bottom hand from the towel, right hand lifts up, and then just ease this arm down. Big shoulder roll, inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Beautiful. Towel switches to the opposite hand. So left hand lifts up. Bend at the elbow so that we drop this behind your back. Right right hand looks out to the side, sees if it can try to find somewhere connecting with the towel. And just like I showed you before, we're trying not to sacrifice the spine. So if we look like this, just see what we can do to come up tall. It might even just not even holding on with the bottom arm, just letting it come out to the edge or the side. So see what kind of connection you can get. Make sure you're not putting a big sway in your low back. You've got some kind of constriction, some use of these core muscles. Keeps our spine nice and tall and elongated. One more nice breath here. Perfect. Release that bottom hand from the towel. Lift up and over your head and release down. One more time with our same movement of up and back. So give yourself towel in the hand, shoulder distance. Inhale tall. Exhale down. Inhale tall. Exhale to the right. Inhale tall. Exhale to the left. Inhale tall. Exhale back down. Towel moves off to the side, and we just take ourselves down to the earth for our first child's pose of this practice. Relaxing that back, letting the belly really fall down onto the tops of the thighs. Forehead might drop all the way into the earth, or you can use a prop. I put a blanket here where I can rest my head. You can look for a block, or maybe make a fist tower here, whatever is going to feel most comfortable to you as you rest in that child's pose for just a couple more breaths. All right, as your body feels ready, the inhale breath brings us up to hands and knees. Right foot, rather, steps forward towards that right hand. Now, if you have a set of blocks, maybe those go into the practice here as a little helper to get you comfortable on the earth. If you don't have blocks, that's okay. Hands can touch floor, or maybe they just kind of hang out here on this top knee, top of the knee. All right, if you feel ready, you might kind of come off that front knee just a bit to bring arms up nice and tall. The same knee that is forward, that hand is going to bend and look for upper back. Opposite arm reaches over, trying to make connection here at the elbow. Inhale, breath, hands reach back tall. Exhale, breath, take your time. Fold back to this front knee. Now this front foot's going to step back. You can go back to child's pose, or if your knees have had enough, maybe you just take your time. Take your time to move into the downward facing dog. So option to be down here on knees or lifted into something a little bigger today. If that down dog shape feels okay. And then when you're ready, we're going to transition. Our left foot will be the one stepping forward towards our thumbs. We may have blocks again if that works for this morning's practice, for this practice today. If it doesn't, you don't have to use them. You don't have to have them. Hands can always hang out here on the floor. Or you can walk up this front leg a little bit. Make your hands even lift as we back off that front knee. And the knee that's bent just as before, that hand is going to bend, try to pass up here on the upper part of our back. Opposite hand reaches over for the top of the elbow there. Spine is tall. Even if you need to be in a shape that looks more like this, kind of making some connections in other places, that's fine too. All right, nice work. Hands lift back up, float forward, foot moves to the back of the mat. Maybe it steps into a big Downward facing dog shape, that upside down V, gazing back towards your toes. Or maybe you look more like something like this. On your knees, head shifting back. Relaxed space in your body. All right, as you feel ready, we're going to slowly start to move ourselves up to a standing posture. You might get into a forward fold, and I want you to hang in your forward fold for just a couple breaths, heads hanging down towards the ground, kind of a ragdoll shape. Adjust my camera here again so that you still see me when we stand up. Big inhale breath. Start to move yourself back up to a standing posture. Hands might lift up above the head. Exhale breath. Bring your hands back down and place them at the heart. Now our right foot is going to step all the way back to the back of the mat. Go ahead and turn those right toes so that they match the back of your mat. And you're able to extend your arms nice and long. And a warrior two. Watching those shoulders, making sure they're not flying way up here out of our ears. Relax them down. Taking your front hand, give it a little flip and reverse. Back to your warrior two. Front elbow looks for front knee, back arm sweeps the ceiling as those right fingers point straight forward. Inhale, breath, following the pace of your breath here, bringing yourself back up. Let's repeat the dance one more time. Shifting to reverse warrior. Then back to your warrior two. Elbow drops to knee. Hand extends up and over. Fingertips pointing forward. Beautiful work. Bring this back to your warrior two. And then you're just going to shift your feet so that they both go the same direction. And just kind of walk your feet all the way back underneath you. Once you get back to standing, you're just going to step up here to the front of your mat once more. Take an inhale breath, reach these hands as high as they can go. And then take your time, exhale and fold. Find a gentle half lift. Long spine, exhale, float back down. Good work. Inhale, hands reach back up nice and tall. And then just settle this back into the heart. All right, as you feel ready, left foot's going to step back this time. Left toes turning so that they face the side of your mat there. Front knee's got a decent bend in it. Arms shoot nice and wide. Take that same warrior two. A couple breaths there, watching the shoulders, making sure that they're not flying way up here in your ears again. They're nice and controlled. Taking this front hand flip and reverse. Easing back to look at that warrior two one more time. Dropping the elbow at that knee. Top hand lifts and stretches up and over the top. Good. We'll bring this back to your warrior. Flip. Back to warrior two. Elbow to knee. Last side angle. Really looking for some length here. Perfect. Let me bring this back to warrior two. Shift your feet so that they both face forward on your mat. And then turn your heels slightly in to look like goddess. You've got a big bend at the knees. Now this is going to be our exhale breath. We're going to exhale when we sink to goddess. When we inhale, you're going to lift your right hand straight up. And then exhale, sit back into your goddess. Inhale, left hand straight up, arms and legs straighten, and then back down. This time you might add even stretching slightly over the body back down. And then slightly over the body again. And then back down. Take this one more time. Last one. Hands drop to the legs. Start to move the feet in a little closer. And then we'll just come up to a nice standing posture, lifting the shoulders towards your ears. And then just exhale, let them drop down the back, down the spine. Let's take that again. Take yourself into a nice tall pose. Shoulders drop from ears, eyes might close, feet in kind of a number 11 shape, slightly apart if you need it. Connection with breath. Hands coming in, finding each other at the heart. We'll shift a little weight towards your right foot, and then just let your left toes fill the kickstand. Whatever version of tree is going to work best for you today is where we can be at this part of our practice. So find something to focus on, something maybe several feet out in front of you, above your camera, above your phone, your screen that you're looking at. Hands might choose to lift or stay right there at your heart. Perfect. Take your time, transition the tree back down and apart. Hands will lift wide. And then as you exhale, just bend the knees. Let the hands droop down in front of you. Head hangs towards earth. Inhale, stand back up, go back wide. Exhale, bring the hands down to your sides. Step the feet back in a little closer, number 11s perhaps with the feet. Shoulders down the back, head slightly lifted. Here goes weight this time to the left leg. Make your tree on the other side. So just kind of switching things up. Same thought process with that same tall lifted spine. Maybe the foot comes slightly up off the floor. You might add length and height through your hands, or it might stay softer right here at the heart. Remembering to try our best today to set judgment aside. We are where we are today. So it's all right if you feel a little wobbly. Especially if you're practicing on a rug or carpet. It's quite a bit different than the hard surface we get the pleasure of practicing on at the studio. Taking your time, you'll start to move down from that tree. Feet will move back to earth. Get a little separation between your feet. Separate the arms wide. Same 5-pointed star. Exhale, breath. That bend in the knees. Ragdoll pose. Hands sweeping towards one another. We're going to stay here for about 3 breaths. So feel free to kind of sway this a little bit, right and left. And if that feels like too much, letting your head really droop so low, maybe you want to keep your blood pressure a little more regular. You don't want to droop so low. Put your hands here on your knees and just kind of sway a little bit side to side. Or give into the full pose. Let your hands even look for the earth. Whatever variations feel like they make sense here, let's try to embrace those. All right, good work. Next natural inhale will start to bring us all the way back up to standing. And then hands will come down and find your heart. All right, walk those feet back in. We're going to take one more standing version of those same stretches we were doing earlier with our towel or our strap, and we're going to do those standing. So if your towel is down on the floor somewhere, let's try to locate those. I'm going to do one more adjustment of the camera here. Maybe. See if I can not cut my arms off. I don't think it's still gonna work, but that's all right. You know what I'm doing. Inhale, hands reach straight out in front of you. And then lift. Exhale down. So that inhale breath takes arms up. Watch that we don't stick our rear out behind us when we have that lift. Now the next time that your arms are tall, we're going to head to the right. So keep those feet nice and planted. Engage through the pelvis so that we don't have a big sway back. And then bring this back to center. So that sway back is where your tail really sticks out behind you. We want to keep the tail right in line. One more time each side. Let's just get that side body one more time. Back to center. And then over to the other side. Perfect. Now from here, we're going to bring this straight down in front of us. So we're going to take one more option. I'm going to turn sideways just so that you can see. I'm going to keep the towel in my right hand or the strap in my right hand and let it move behind my back. Option here to take grip with the hands. So if you can see, my hands are facing upward, holding on to the strap. You can stay right here and just focus on maybe a slight lift in the chin, an opening in the heart. Others are going to feel good, maybe putting a little bend in their knees and letting these hands move up over the head. It's going to depend on what feels good in your own body and your shoulders. So that may be too big. If that's too big, that's all right. I see some of you folding, some of you standing, some of you kind of rotating your wrists a little bit. That's okay too. Watch the pelvis so that we don't put that big sway in the back for those of you standing tall. Now, if you've chosen to fold, use your inhale breath to bring your chest back up. Releasing the blanket, the strap, the towel from your hands. Maybe a big shoulder roll, just kind of tossing that towel down onto the floor. And then I'm just going to bring my hands so that they come up and touch on the tops of my shoulders. Just going to open and close the arms a little bit here. Maybe even draw a circle with that left shoulder. And then repeat, same thing on the other side. Drawing some circles. Perfect. When that feels good, we'll step ourselves on our mat one more time, that same 5-pointed star. So the feet step really wide, if that feels good, a little wider maybe than you did before. You let your arms stretch out, you make a T, maybe palms facing forward or palms facing down. Shoulders feel like they're working. Take a slight turn of the heels in towards one another. As you exhale, release these arms down. As you inhale, let your arms reach up. Just a couple rounds of this, just some play with the same big groups of muscles in our legs that we used earlier, but letting our arms have a chance to kind of gel down, relax. All right, last one. Just bring yourself back up tall, hands coming down into the heart. My feet are going to either walk or shift their way back to the middle. And then I'm just going to step myself up towards the front of my mat. We're heading down towards the earth. So a forward fold might feel really nice here. Maybe thinking about this hip creases where your top half meets your bottom half, kind of folding over that. Arms might go up first and then initiate the fold, or just take your time. When you get to that fold, maybe a bend in the knees feels good, a little squat. If you want to skip the squat, you certainly can. Hands can walk behind you, and you can bring your seat down to the earth and just kind of hug around the backs of your knees. Whatever option you have chosen, we are working our way down to the earth. So if you're finished with that squat, hands will look for the floor behind you. Bring yourself so that you've got some space here, out in front and behind. And I'm going to shift so that you can see what my legs are doing, I think. Nope, you won't be able to see it that way. I'll have to do it this way. Okay, right knee is going to move itself in towards the chest. See if you can sit nice and tall here. When you feel ready, we might bring this right foot over and on top of that left leg, or you can keep it here, depending on how big you want this shape to be. Your chest will sit tall. Now, if you've got the right knee bent, you're going to bring your left hand to that right knee. Right hand might reach up, just like we did before. Same backstroke motion we did early on, adding a little twist. Perfect. Take your time, start to unwind from that. I'll bring this knee back and let it go long. Opposite knee moves in, spine is nice and tall. You can keep this hugged here or step it over and across. If you've got left knee bent, right hand goes to the outer edge. Left hand reaches up, starts to look for length behind. Nice twist here, just as you did before, tall spine, easing over that shoulder. Perfect, take your time, start to come from that. Hands come unwound. Great, we're gonna start to move ourselves back onto our backs. You probably don't need your towel anymore, but if you'd like to use a blanket as a pillow or a support across the belly, or maybe you just feel chilled in general and you want to cover up, you certainly can. We'll head back to our backs here so that we can get comfortable down into the earth. And it might take a couple adjustments, so just take your time, maybe swaying the knees a little bit right and left, or hugging the knees one at a time into the chest. Wherever you might be as you start to finish out this morning's practice, just take your time to find whatever postures are going to feel most comfortable to let your back settle into the earth. I'm going to finish with one more nice hip stretch. If you'd like to join, feel free. Left knee is going to stay bent, left foot on the floor. I'm going to lift my right foot to the sky. And then my right foot's going to come over and rest itself just above or just below that left knee into a figure four shape. Now this figure four that you're taking can stay right here. It can have a little bit of movement, or you might choose to invite the left foot up off the floor, maybe attach a little grip behind the back of the thigh. Rocking again, right and left, pointing and flexing the toes, having some movement in the ankles. Taking a quiet moment to breathe. If you have the pleasure of being able to hear some wildlife outside your windows, I've been hearing birds today. They seem to be chipper and happy. The sun is out here. All right, just take your time easing that foot back down to the earth. Switching sides when you can, when you feel ready. Opposite leg, left foot lifts. Brings itself over here to this right knee or just below it. You're gonna kind of rock around a little bit. That might feel nice. You might choose to lift the right foot up off the ground, remembering that there's always kinds of different ways to modify all these. We don't have to be so big. This foot can kind of just crisscross down here by the ankles. We'll let that knee open. You could always put a pillow here. You can stay right here and not lift the foot up off the floor at all. There are certainly options to make this feel like it makes sense to you. Though I know those of you who are doing that this class with us today have come quite a bit to yoga, so you know what feels good to you. And hopefully you're doing that from the comfort of your home. Softening the muscles of your face, letting things feel a little less like work. And then when this side feels good, we'll just ease the foot down towards the earth. Both feet returning to the ground. I'm going to take some twists here just because it feels good in my own body. If that feels good, to let your knees kind of fall one way and then maybe readjust and let them fall the other way. Feel free. If you'd like a inversion here, we didn't do a lot of lifting and flipping upside down today. If you want to lift your feet up towards the sky, even if it's with some soft knees, maybe hugging on the backs of the thighs here, or if a happy baby is more your style, grabbing at the feet, wherever you are in this morning's practice or today's practice, just take your time, figuring out what feels good. And if what feels good is a nice savasana, a nice final rest, you can start to move into whatever shape that is going to be like for you today. If you brought some props into the room with you, like pillows or blankets or blocks, feel free to reach for any of those. They can go under the backs of the knees, the back of the head. You can prop yourself up however you feel. Is going to allow you to use these final moments today to just let everything sift and settle back into place. If you've had some music playing in your home, make sure that you either turn the volume down a little bit here or make the tone of the music nice and calming, soft. Let the muscles of your face start to relax. Releasing the tension hiding between your eyebrows and your forehead. Letting the muscles of the cheeks and the chin, the neck, everything just gets softer. Resting in this savasana as long as you may need today. Remembering each time your body is pulled from this space mentally, come back to your reclined, relaxed state just by becoming aware of that breath again. Pull the mind from places of judgment, from the to-do list, from the stresses, the anxieties that weigh on us so naturally. Bring the mind back right here, just with your breath. A nice steady inhale, and an easy, slow exhale. Staying within that shape for a few more moments, allowing the back to feel nice and relaxed on the earth. Slowly starting to allow a little bit of gentle movement back into your body. Probably we'll start off something being as simple as just opening and closing your hands, maybe pointing and flexing the toes or rolling the ankles, letting the back of the head sway and shift with the earth underneath of you. Maybe the knees start to walk up the mat, hugging into the chest, rocking a little bit right and left, before ultimately finding your right arm, maybe coming towards the side of your head, serving as a pillow as you roll and rest on that right hand side. Pressing into the earth, we'll return back to our seat only when we feel ready. And we'll close out this morning's practice or today's practice together. Our final reading, again, comes from the same book as our opening reading, A Year of Living Your Yoga by Judith Lasker. When I judge another, I limit that person as well as myself. To judge is to put self or other in a box. Focus today on your actions. Ask yourself, are my actions kind? Do they support my values? Just for today, refuse to judge yourself as good or bad. Refuse to judge yourself as good or bad. Bringing the hands into the heart, sitting nice and tall at your seat, connecting once more with a nice full inhale through the nose. And then just an easy exhale back out. I greatly appreciate you taking this time for yourself, not only for your physical body to move and breathe with us today, but giving your mind that natural time it needs to sift as well. May you have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.